apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC, DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent, License Lender, Broker Number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License Number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender, License Number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is his availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach of college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees are not. They're even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I'm Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio, and the Heat go up 1-0 in the Eastern Conference Final. They won last night over the Boston Celtics, 118-107. It looked like in the first half the Celtics were going to take Game 1. They were up by 8. They're up 62-54, but the Heat outscored the Celtics 39-14 in the third quarter, and that pretty much did it for the Celtics as they fall to the Heat 118-107. Outstanding performance by Jimmy Butler, and he continues to play the way he's been playing. He dropped 41 last night, and he's starting to get people to think of. And we're starting to ask this question to ourselves: is he a superstar in this league? Is Jimmy Butler a superstar? I'm still not there yet, but if he could lead this team to a championship, I'm definitely there.
Yeah, he's a fantastic player. Again, he's probably one of the best two-way players in the game. Defensively, offensively, he can do it all. He's right there. I give him the superstar. Again, he could score. I know at times, he may not, laid up at times, but again, defensively, last night he got to the line, hit 17 free throws. Again, he led. I know it was in the bubble, but he did lead that team in 2020 to a championship team with Miami. So I think he's got that superstar level. I think he's a superstar in this game. I take a lot of stock in guys who are two-way players, and he's one of the best in the game.
He is, but the problem with him is he's not the best three-point shooter. That's my issue with him. But in this postseason, I mean, he had some great performances against the Hawks. He had some great performances against the Sixers. And last night, he outplayed Jason Tatum. He was the best player on the floor. And that was the advantage the Celtics had going into the series. You knew that you thought they had the best player in the series. But last night, Jimmy Butler was that guy.
Yeah, he was. Especially defensively, too. He kind of set the tone. He had 4 steals in the game. 3 of them came in the third quarter. And yeah, defensively, the minute Tatum got up over half court, Butler or any of those Heat were all over him. Mostly Butler. Butler was great defensively, and it helped him offensively. He got to the line, he hit some shots, and defensively they were just, Butler and the rest of the Heat were just a tougher team, it felt like, than the Celtics last night.
Alrighty, so now we'll talk about why the Heat won the game, and I think it's pretty obvious. It was Jimmy Butler, and it was that third quarter. Those were the two biggest reasons by far why the Heat won that game. I mean, Jimmy Butler was just outstanding, 41 points. We talked about him. And that third quarter, the Heat were down 8 at halftime. They came out and they dominated the Celtics in the third quarter, and they won that first game at home. So to me, it was Jimmy Butler, and it was the third quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. Jimmy Butler was unbelievable. I think it was second half adjustment with that Heat. Offensively coming up, guarding Tatum, the minute he got over half court, Boston had 42 points in the paint in the first half with 17 assists. They only had 6 points in the paint in the second half. They did a much better job. They were the tougher team, and Miami, I thought, made the better adjustments. And Ike Udomi, the Celtics coach, that's really the first time I've seen get absolutely out coached like that. Spoelstra did a great job last night.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is. Udoka's done a really good job, but Spoelstra's got experience, and I think that's starting to take over here a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Spoelstra's been in this a lot. Ike Udoka in his first kind of season here as a head coach in the playoffs. Yeah, it's a different thing. And again, last second too, I think Smart and Horford kind of being out literally a couple hours before the game kind of threw some things off, and again, I thought the first half they had a great game plan, but the second he just could not make any adjustments.
Absolutely. So now we'll get to why the Celtics lost this game. And I think the biggest reason the Celtics lost this game is they weren't able to contain Jimmy Butler, and Tatum was not that good in the second half. I think those were the reasons why, and their bench got outscored. And I think so. There's 4 reasons for me. Their bench got outscored. They couldn't contain Butler. Tatum wasn't great in the second half. And now the obvious reason, they didn't have Al Horford. They didn't have Marcus Smart. And most importantly, Marcus Smart, because he's the guy who probably was going to defend Jimmy Butler and contain him.
Yeah, absolutely. Horford and Smart were big reasons why. I had mostly the same reasons you did. So, the one kind of difference, other one I had that you didn't, was for me, I thought Jaylen Brown wasn't a factor really till the fourth quarter. In that third quarter, they really needed him to show up. And, when Tatum was kind of struggling, he didn't. And I know Brown had 24 points, but most of those came in the fourth quarter late when it didn't really matter. The game was kind of in hand. So for me too, not having Brown not being a big factor was another kind of loss there, big loss for the Celtics.
Absolutely. So what do the Celtics have to do to tie this series up? In my opinion, what's going to happen is Smart's got to get healthy and Horford's got to get healthy. And they must contain Jimmy Butler. They can't let him go crazy, because if they don't let Butler go crazy in the series, I think they win this series, because after that, I mean, they should have. In my opinion, they got the best player in Jason Tatum, and then they got Jaylen Brown, who I think is better outside of Jimmy Butler, better than anyone in the Heat. So if they don't let Butler go crazy, I feel like they can win the series. But that it is imperative they don't let Butler go crazy in Game 2. They cannot let him go crazy in Game 2. And you said it too. Jaylen Brown has got to be better until he's got to be better. And he really got hot in the fourth quarter. He's got to be better throughout the game. So really what they got to do to tie the series is Brown's got to be better throughout the game, and they got to contain Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, absolutely. Contain Jimmy Butler. Again, it's kind of different here when you play in the Bucks. You just came off probably the best player in the world. Now you have a guy in Jimmy Butler who's a little bit better of a three-point shooter than Giannis is. But yeah, you got to be able to contain him and make some of those other guys beat you. I know Gabe Vincent had a really good game as well last night. But yeah, contain Butler, and then the other ones is the role guys. Like Grant Williams got to play better. Peyton Pritchard's got to play better. He's got to score more. Especially if Smart and Horford are going to be out for an extended period of time here. They're going to need those role guys to step up and hit some shots for them. Because again, Brown and Tatum are good enough, but the way they guarded Tatum, I don't think they're going away from that until Tatum shows he's gonna. They're gonna figure it out, and other guys are gonna be able to score. Pritchard at 18, he played well. Robert Williams played well coming off in his first game back, but Grant Williams struggled. They need some of those other guys to really step up and hit some shots.
Absolutely, you brought up Grant Williams. Grant Williams had a great Game 7 against the Bucks, and he was not good at all against the. Last night, he was not good at all. Pritchard did step up. Pritchard was pretty good. He had 18 points. But, yeah, he's got to continue to step up, and they definitely need to get more to Grant Williams, especially if Marcus Smart and Al Horford aren't going to play the next couple of games. Horford's probably going to be out longer than Smart, but those guys definitely have to step up.
Yeah, absolutely, they do. Because, Horford, we saw had a big, Eastern Conference semifinals, really stepped up, and Marcus Smart's been a great defensive player of the year. Again, he can hit some shots. He's a decent shooter as well. So, yeah, they need some of those guys. Derek White's not a great shooter. They can't really rely on him. Aaron Nesmith wasn't college. Obviously, we haven't seen much of him in the NBA yet, but he was a good shooter at Vanderbilt. Maybe he can knock down. So I know he was over 3 last night, but maybe game 2 he can knock some down. But yeah, Peyton Pritchard's got to hit some. Jaylen Brown's got to be a bit better. Like, you didn't think he'd get some points out of Derek White would be huge. But yeah, those role players really have to step up because, again, the Miami's going to continue to try to take away Jason Tatum. And, obviously Brown's a good player, but they need some others to step up or they're going to struggle to win the series.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely crucial for guys around Tatum and Brown to step up, just like Williams did in Game 7. But let's go to the Heat, and what do the Heat have to do to go up 2-0 in this series? And I think the biggest thing is Butler continue to play the way that he's playing. I'll have the bench continue to do what they're doing. Tyler Hero, 18 off the bench. Hero pretty much owns the Celtics. He owned the Celtics in the 2020 conference finals. He had another really good game against the Celtics again. But here's what the Heat need to do better. I feel like they need somebody outside of Hero or Butler to step up. They need because Bam didn't have a great game last night. I mean, Vincent played pretty well. He was the guy who stepped up, but they need more guys to step up because they can't rely on Jimmy Butler to have the games like he did last night, especially if Marcus Smart comes back. Butler, yeah, he'll probably put up at least 25 every game in this series, but you can't expect him to put up 41. So I think the Heat need to get some other contributions from guys outside of Hero and Butler if they want to win on Thursday night and go to Boston up 2-0.
Yeah, absolutely. They have to because Bam's got to Bam's such a great defense player, but yeah, they need some more from him on the offensive side of the floor than they did last night. Yeah, Butler's a great player, but yeah, they need more. Like Gabe Vincent had a really good game, but can you rely on him to kind of do that the rest of the series? It's tough. Tyler Hero had a really good game. Oladipo was 2 for 9 last night. He didn't shoot the ball very well. I know he's kind of just coming back, but again, like he's a guy that can light up a scoreboard if he's hot. So, Miami's got the pieces to do it, but it just feels like it's one guy, one night off of that bench that does it, and then the rest have an off night. But like if 2 or 3 of them can get in a rhythm and shoot the ball well and put up some points, it's gonna be very tough for the Celtics to beat them.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So right now, Heat are up 1-0. I picked the Celtics in 6 to win this series, and I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with the Celtics in 6, and here's why. I think that eventually Marcus Smart will come back. He'll contain Jimmy Butler, and I think Jason Tatum will start taking over. I mean, last night, and this is another big key for the Celtics. Last night, the Celtics didn't have the best player on the floor. I think in this series they have the best player on the floor, and that's going to show up. That's why I think, even though they lost last night, I still got the Celtics winning in 6.
Yeah, I still got the Celtics. I got them right now as well in 6 games. I think they do finish. I do think when they get Smart and Horford back, they are the better team. And I do worry they just came off of a grueling series against the Bucks, and coming off that, and everybody's picking the Celtics. But yeah, I think Jason Tatum is a bit better than Jimmy Butler. I think Jaylen Brown really starts to play better, in the first 3 quarters, and shoots the ball better. And I think and I don't know consistently if Miami's got consistently can Miami have enough guys to step up and knock down shots and knock off the Celtics. Because like you saw in that first half, Boston was so much the better team, and they still were not without Smart and Horford. And even though, they outscored the Heat in 3 of the 4 quarters. Like they were the better team besides that third quarter, and they killed them. The Celtics I think are the better team. They just got to play a full 48 minutes.
Exactly. I mean, and the Celtics. This is the I think this is the 4th trip they've made to the conference finals in the last 6 years. I feel like the time is now for the Celtics. If this Jason Tatum era, the time is now. They got a really, really good opportunity to win. So that's why I still think, even though the Heat won, I still have them in 6. But this should be a great series.
Yeah, that's what it should be. I think this series goes to 6-7 games. 2 really good defensive teams with some really good players. So yeah, it should be a fun series. It should be back and forth, and it should be a deep series.
Absolutely. So we'll go to the Western Conference, and that starts tonight as the Warriors face the Mavs. I mean, do we ever think the Mavs were going to get to this point? after they were down 0-2 to the Suns, but they got here. I mean, we know the Suns. That's another story with what happened to the Suns. But I mean, really, Luka Doncic is proving why I take the only player I take over Luka right now is Giannis. And Luka has proven that he's been absolutely phenomenal in this postseason, leading this Mavericks team to the conference finals. This is very similar. I feel like this is very, very similar to LeBron leading the Cavs to the NBA Finals in 2007. I think I'm seeing some similarities here. I think maybe Luka's team's a little bit better, but I'm definitely seeing some similarities between Luka leading the Mavericks this far and LeBron leading the Cavaliers this far in 2007.
Yeah, I don't remember too much of that 2007 Cavs team. That was really when I started to kind of just follow sports. Like I can't really remember, but I know they kind of went on that run. Yeah, LeBron kind of the superstar. Luka is special. To see what he did in that game 7, to see what he's done in clutch in kind of game or series clinching moments is unbelievable, and he should be a king. That's so frustrating to watch.
I know. You took Marcus Bagley over Luka Doncic. Terrible.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's very frustrating, but that's Sacramento for you. Yeah, so again, he's a great player. He's clutch, and again, I know he could kind of whine and complain at times, but he'll back it up, though. He'll back it up, and I'm with you. He's right there with Giannis as being the best player in the league. To see what he's been able to do, carry this team is really, really special.
Oh, absolutely. It really is. It really is. So we'll get to Luka, but first we got to talk about the Warriors and what is the key to them winning this series. And I think for them, if Poole, Curry, and Clay play well, there's no way they're going to lose this series. Because after Luka, if you're doing a draft, you're probably taking Curry, Clay. You're definitely taking Curry, Clay, and Poole. And you might even take Draymond Green before you take the Mavs. We were taking maybe Jalen Brunson or Spencer Dinwiddie, the Mavs next player. So the Warriors are clearly the better team. And if those three guys have really good series and the Mavericks don't contain those guys, the Warriors should win this series, and they should win it in 5 games, maybe 6 max.
Yeah, the Warriors, they should be able to with those 3 big scores that they have. With Curry, I know Thompson's got to continue to play like he did in Game 6. I know he's not the same guy. He's been out for so long. But if he can knock down shots like he did in Game 6 and clinch that thing, it's going to be very tough to beat them. Yeah, they're good defensively. Even like a guy like Andrew Wiggins is just another good player as well. Yeah, like the Warriors should be able to win this thing in 5-6 games. They do have the more talent. You're right. Like after Luka, it's you could probably even put Wiggins on the list too. Wiggins is probably right there with Brunson. As that next pick. They just they should be able to they should be able to win this thing in 5-6 games. The Warriors just have way too much talent. And again, it's the Suns have a lot of kind of younger guys. The Warriors, it's Curry, Thompson. They've been in this league for so long. They're not losing a series like the Suns did on Sunday.
The difference between the Warriors and the Suns is the Warriors got championship DNA. They got guys who've been there and done it before. They got guys who've won 3 championships like Steph Curry, like Klay Thompson, like Draymond Green, and the head coach Steve Kerr. They've won championships. If you look at the Suns, none of those guys – Chris Paul's had a great career, but what he's been known for in the playoffs is blowing series, blowing 2-0 leads, blowing 3-1 leads, blowing playoff series. That's what Chris Paul's been known to. And Devin Booker – he did not take the next step. He proved in that series why he's not a top 10 player. So there's definitely differences between the Warriors and the Suns. This is why all year long I picked the Warriors. I thought the Warriors were a better team than the Suns because they have more talent and they've had guys that have been there before. And that's why, yes, the Mavericks upset the Suns, but I think they're going to have a hard time upsetting the Warriors.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I know the Warriors in Game 4, Game 5 really showed, especially Game 5. They lost. They go on the road and lose by 55. But that's a team, they come back home, Game 6, and they take care of business. Again, maybe a younger, inexperienced team there kind of gets nervous, kind of gets a little bit rattled, and they go home Game 6 and they lose the Grizzlies Game 6, and they got to go back to Memphis. But yeah, not the Warriors. Yeah, the Warriors, they know how to be, they know how to get to the championship. They've done it a bunch. They have a bunch of experienced guys that know how to win. And yeah, Chris Paul's been a great player in his career, but yeah, he hasn't won yet. Unfortunately for him, he has not won yet. They blow another one. Monty Williams is a young coach against Steve Kerr, who's been around forever, or been around for a while. Yeah, it's a totally different. It's the Suns just they haven't gotten there. They kind of Chris Paul was a nice addition, but I think it'd be great too. They could find somebody that's won a couple of championships or at least won one to kind of bring in that locker room as well to kind of, help that team be able to take that next step and help Booker get to the next step. That's something they really do, I think, need.
Absolutely. So we talked about the Mavericks and how they're going to have trouble pulling the upset, but now we'll talk about how the Mavs will have to pull this upset. And it's going to have to be Luka's going to have to be great in every game of the series, in every game. He's going to have to play like he's the second best player in the league. He's going to have to be phenomenal. He cannot have an off game. And other guys got to get involved, just like they did in game 6 and 7 of the conference finals. You got to get Dinwiddie involved. You got to get Brunson involved. You got to get Beatrice. What's his name? That player on the Mavericks, starts with a B, that 3-point shooter. He's got to get involved. So the Mavericks got to get other guys involved. That's the biggest thing, and they got to hit their threes, because if the Mavericks hit their threes, they are very, very dangerous. But I just think it's just going to be really hard for them. But if they want to win, 3 things got to happen. Luka's got to be great. The role players have to step up, and they got to hit threes.
Yeah, for me, my theory for Dallas in the series is they did a pretty good job in Steph Curry in the regular season. He only averaged 20 points a game against them. He shot, they held him to 33% shooting, only 29% from 3. Mostly Reggie Bullock and Dorian Finney-Smith were the 2 premium defenders on him. And then, the role players, as you mentioned too, they got to step up. And the playoffs are shooting 38%. And from downtown, those like the Dorian Finney-Smiths, the Max Keeblers, Davis Bertans, I think that's how
it's Kleba, it's Maxi Kleba.
Yeah, Maxi Kleba. Then Davis Bertans.
Bertans had that big game in Game 4.
Yeah, like and then Spencer Dinwiddie too. They're shooting 40% from 3. So, and Reggie Bullock is just shooting under 40% from 3. So those role players have shot the ball pretty well, but they got to continue because they're going to have to score. And it kind of leads to my next one too, is the Mavericks got to, I think, dictate the tempo. They've averaged about 92 possessions per game in the playoffs. The Warriors, and that's one of the slower paces, and the Warriors are 98 possessions per game. You're not going to beat the Warriors in a shootout. Dallas is going to have to win these games in like the 100s, low 100s, kind of somewhere around there. That's how you're not beating the Warriors within a shootout. So they got to be able to dictate the pace of this game. And that's defensively kind of setting the tone and trying to play in a low scoring game to the Warriors. I know it's tough to do, but that's really the only chance the Mavericks have.
Exactly. Yeah, it has to be a really, really low scoring game. You made a good point. They got to control the tempo. If they're able to control the tempo, they have a shot. But if the Warriors start playing fast and they start hitting threes themselves, it's going to be a very, very long series for them. So can try to contain Curry. One of those 3 guys, Curry, Poole, or Thompson, and then control the tempo, because they got to play games in like the low hundreds. If this game gets into the one, we got Warriors in 6. I think that's Jared. Warriors in 6, but Luka is the real MVP. Yeah, Luka definitely is the real MVP. What he's done for this Mavs team has been downright phenomenal. I mean, to get this team to the conference finals has been downright phenomenal. And like I said earlier in the show, it proves you why he's the top 2 player in this league.
Yeah, absolutely. He is. He's definitely, he'll carry the Mavericks on his back as much as possible. And imagine they could get a second, if they can find that right second star for Luka, what that's going to do to that Dallas team. Yeah, he's impressive. And I think he'll do all he can do for this Mavericks team to try to get them to the finals.
Absolutely. So the series prediction. My prediction is I think this goes 5 games. I don't see the Mavericks containing Curry, Poole, or Klay Thompson. And Luke will have his points, but I just don't think he's going to get enough help in the series. I think that the Warriors will try to contain him. I think we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how the Warriors defend him. But the Steve Kerr will either let him get his points, or he'll lock up the role players, or if the role players are playing well, he'll double Luka, and then if the role players are playing well, he'll double Luka and see what he can do there. So I think Kerr's going to have him ready.
Okay, it's Hector.
It's Hector. Hector, what's up, Hector? Hector, definitely. What's up? So yeah.
So long time
So
we've
we've been noticing you've been you're back on here, and yeah, you got it's the NBA playoffs. We're happy you're excited. You got the Warriors in 6, but yeah, just like I said, it's really going to be either the role players for the Warriors. They have to. Kerr will contain the role players, or he'll contain Luka. So we'll see what his defensive strategy is, but I just can't see the Warriors winning this series. I mean the Mavericks winning this series. I got the Warriors in 5. I just think there's too much talent on this Warriors team, and Luka just can't. It's just going to be too much for Luka to overcome.
Yeah, I want to say 6, but I think they only find a way to steal one game at home in Dallas. I think it's just too difficult of a task because Golden State, they could score too, but they're pretty good defensively as well. So, yeah, I think Golden State, I think you put pressure on Luka and force him to take those jump shots because I think if he gets into the paint, that's where he becomes so good at his playmaking ability. He can either finish or that's when he's going to try to find the open guy and a kick out. The Warriors are going to have to defend that really well. And then, like if they can get anything like they did out of Klay Thompson in Game 6, they don't need 30, but if they can get 20, 25 points. I know defensively he's not the same guy either, but they can just get something out of Klay.
I like Ben missing in action. LOL. There he is. There, I've been MIA. He's gonna be happy. He's gonna like our show today. We're gonna talk about the Giants' schedule coming up, so we'll definitely like our show today. But yeah. You said it, Justin, and we've said it. It's just too much for Luka, and with a coach like Steve Kerr going up against Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Jordan Poole, it's just too much. Great year for Luka and the Mavs, but I think it comes to an end in the conference finals.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it does as well. He had a great year. He again got farther than anybody thought they would. But yeah, they got to find that second superstar for him. And maybe this offseason they do kind of find that and they make a trade or something. Who knows? But I think the Warriors is too much and they're going to be too much to handle for Dallas.
Absolutely. So we got some transactions in the NFL and the schedules came out. But before we talk about that, we got a promo from Clovercrest Media.
So, Jess, why did you become a realtor?
I worked in various customer service jobs, so I wanted something a little bit more rewarding. Becoming a real estate agent, being able to help people find their forever homes or their investment homes, starter homes. It's very exciting, so a lot of fun.
Now, you've gotten off to a really good start in your real estate career. What has been the most rewarding part of this for you so far?
Helping people, especially like first-time home buyers, finding their first home. They're so excited. I'm so excited to help them. So it's a nice, rewarding part.
What is it that you think makes you different than other real estate agents?
I think that my various roles in customer service has helped me. So I like to ask a lot of questions and I want to know what I'm doing. So I think that helps a lot because I'm not going to steer people the wrong way. I'm going to make sure they have knowledgeable decisions and help them find the right home.
Last thing I'm going to ask you is, and I know these are words that you live by, but the mantra at CTBB Realty is?
People over paychecks and do the damn thing.
And that's what we do.
All right, before we talk about the schedule, we'll get into some of the moves that happened this week in the NFL. Jarvis Landry signs with the Saints, and this big story is for the Saints. Look at the roster they've constructed this year. I mean, they got Jarvis Landry, they got Marcus May, they got Tyrone Matthew. They did lose a Marcus Williams and Teron Armstead. And Sean Payton's not the coach anymore. Dennis Allen is. The big question is, I mean, I think Landry's definitely going to help them. Definitely help that receiving core with Michael Thomas and with Michael Thomas, and obviously they got Alvin Kamara in the backfield too. But the big question is with the roster they have, can they compete with the Bucs? And I don't think so. I still don't think so. I just don't think their offensive line is good enough. They have a rookie left tackle and a quarterback that's came off an ACL. I think defensively, I still think they're good, but they're not great. Losing Marcus Williams. I like some of the additions, getting Matthew and getting Jarvis Landry, but I still don't think they're close to the Buccaneers. I do think they'll beat the Buccaneers once this year because they beat them every year. but I still don't think they're close to the Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers are still clearly the best team in the AFC South. In the NFC South, my bad.
Yeah, I still think the Bucs are there. I think the Bucs probably win this division probably by 2 to 3 games. Yeah, I do think the Saints probably get them once, probably at the Superdome. I do think I think the Bucs are still a little bit better team. Yeah, I like what the Saints are doing. I like the way with how Winston looked in leading up to the ACL injury. I think he played pretty well. I like what could they kind of find Chris Oliva coming in. Michael Thomas, could he stay healthy this year?
Oh, I forgot about Chris Olave. Yeah,
Olave.
Forgot about him, and they drafted in the first round.
Yeah. So I think so they've gotten better at the wide receiver core. Marquise Callaway too. I really like it. I think he could have a big year for the Saints. I think his offense to be a little bit better than it was last year. Defensively, they lost some pieces up, but I still think the Saints are just they don't have a guy like Tom Brady quarterback that's the Saints aren't going to win too many shootouts. I don't think so. And in this day and age, it's tough to kind of when it's tough with so many quarterbacks that could put up a big number. I don't know if Jameis. I don't think consistently he's going to be able to do that enough.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be tough for him to compete with some of the better teams in football. But the next question is are the Saints a playoff team with the roster they have? And I think they are. I think they clearly are. I think here we go. Saints are the second best team in the NFC South. Oh yeah, they're easily the second best team in the NFC South. I mean, because the other two teams, the Panthers and the Falcons, are probably two of the worst teams in the league in the NFC. I think the Panthers and Falcons are 3 to 4 win teams, both of them. So the Saints are clearly the best team, second best team in the AFC South. And I think they're a playoff team. And they would have been a playoff team last year if the Rams hung on to beat the 49ers. So I think that the Saints are a playoff team. I think they have their offensive line, even though they have a rookie at left tackle, they still have Ryan Ramczyk. They got Alvin Kamara. They got to hope Michael Thomas stays healthy, but they added Chris Olave and Jarvis Landry to that receiving core. On defense, they still got Cameron Jordan. They still got one of the best linebackers in the league in Demario Davis, and they still have one of the best corners in the league in Marshawn Lattimore. So I think they're a 9-10 win team that gets a wild card.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I had them going 9-8, and I think that may be good enough to get them into a wild card spot. But yeah, I think they're going to be hanging right around. They're definitely the second best team right now in that division, with Falcons and Panthers rebuilding. Yeah, I think the Saints are going to be right there battling for a wild card up to the very end. And, that's kind of, that – and, yeah, because that roster is definitely good enough to compete for a playoff spot. With kind of the upgrades they kind of got, that wide receiver especially with Olave and Jarvis Landry. So, yeah, I think the Saints get right around a 9-win team, and that should be enough to get a wild card spot.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think they sneak into the playoffs. But we got another move this week, and the Packers extended Jari Alexander 4 years, $84 million. Some of the top corners in the game. The big question is, should he be the highest paid corner in football? And I feel like just like quarterbacks or any position, he was the next guy up. Denzel Ward, he was the highest paid guy, and he's a better cornerback than Denzel Ward. So I feel like he was the next guy up. I think you had to give him the money. I think you had to give him the money. You wanted to keep him. You lost Devontae Adams. You lost a top player in Devontae Adams. So I feel like if you're the Packers, you wanted to sign a top player long term. I like this move.
Yeah, I do too. I think I do mention. I think you're correct with nowadays it's kind of one guy kind of sets the market, the next guy kind of up for extension like an Alexander is going to reset that market. So yeah, I think Packers. I think it was a good decision to re-sign him and keep him around. We know Rodgers has probably done a few years, kind of anchor around that defense. And yeah, you don't want to let him, Alexander leave too, like Adams, because I think that, would have really frustrated the fan base. If they could have kept one of the two, they had to keep one of the two. They kept Alexander. I think it's a good move, helps that defense. I think, for Alexander, I think it was a good move for the Packers to keep him around.
Oh, absolutely. It was a really, really good move for the Packers to keep him around. Now we'll go to another corner that's signed today. 1 year, $10 million. James Bradberry signed with the Eagles, and he was a former Giant. Had a really good year 2 years ago. Average year last year. I think it's the number 2 corner. He's going to help this defense. He's obviously not a superstar, but he's going to help this defense and help this team that I think is the favorite in the NFC East.
Yeah, absolutely. He kind of comes familiar spot. He knows the teams around this. Knows the offenses in this league or in this division, which helps. Yeah, another veteran presence. With Darius Slay on the other side, which I think helps the Eagles out. Yeah, and I think the Eagles have had a really nice offseason, and right there, they're right there for battling in the NFC East division, and they're going to be right there with Dallas competing with it. So, yeah, I think it's a good move for the Eagles to bring in Bradberry, another veteran piece in that secondary.
Absolutely. So now let's get to our games. Let's get to the schedule. And now that the schedule is out, we picked our top 10 games we wanted to see. We have a lot of good matchups. I really was excited to see. Obviously, that Bills Rams game opening week. A lot of great matchups. But we're gonna give you our top 10 games, and I'm gonna start. And first, for me, I'm gonna be a little selfish here. Thanksgiving Day, Cowboys, Giants in Dallas. This is the first time the Giants have played the Cowboys on Thanksgiving in 30 years, since 1992. That game was not very good. The Giants lost, I think, 27-0. But this is Thanksgiving Day in Dallas. The Giants head down to Big D to face the Cowboys, so that's why that game is number 10 for me. Number 9, I got Week 1, Monday Night Football. Russell Wilson heading to CenturyLink Field to place the Seahawks. The reaction is going to be interesting. I think they should all be cheers. I don't blame the fact the Seahawks have been losing the last couple of years on Russell Wilson. I blame it on Pete Carroll and John Snyder. So this should be really, really interesting to see the reaction he gets. But I'm definitely excited to watch him play his former team in his first game of the season, in his first game as a Bronco. Number 8, I got the Bengals and the Ravens Sunday Night Football in Week 5. And I'm really looking forward to this game because I want to see how this improved Ravens secondary, which I think is the best in football. I think the Ravens got the best secondary in football. Getting Peters, getting Humphrey back. Yeah, now you've really upgraded at safety, signing Marcus Williams, and then going out and drafting Kyle Hamilton. I'm really interested to see how this improved secondary goes up against this Bengals receiving core because we saw what the Bengals did to them last year. They destroyed them. Jamar Chase, I think, went for 200 yards in the first game they played. So I'm really excited to see that matchup. And obviously you're watching Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, 2 of the top young quarterbacks in football. That's another reason why this is a great matchup in Week 5. Number 7, Packers-Bucks, just because it's Brady Rodgers. You have to be excited for Brady Rodgers. Packers-Bucks, Week 3, down in Tampa. When you watch these two quarterbacks go at it, I'm really excited to see them go at it. We didn't get the chance to see it last year. Now we get the chance to see it this year. I'm really excited for that one. That's why that is number 7 for me. Number 6, Thursday Night Football Week 2. Chargers head to Kansas City. I'm really looking forward to seeing this improved Chargers team with Khalil Mack and with J.C. Jackson. To see this team play, I think that they're my favorite to win the AFC West, but they're gonna have to prove it. I know they won in Kansas City last year, but they lost in December at home last year, and then the Chiefs won the division. So they're really gonna have to prove it. They want it to be their AFC West. They want it to be their division. They definitely got to win that game in Week 2. Number 5, the Packers heading to Buffalo to face the Bills in Week 8 on Sunday Night Football. It's the quarterback matchup. It's Aaron Rodgers. It's Josh Allen. We've never seen those two quarterbacks go at it. I mean, you got one of the top quarterbacks for years against one of the up and comers in Josh Allen. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that quarterback matchup in Week 8. Week 9, got to go Rams-Bucks in number 4. Got to go Rams-Bucks in Week 9. This was the team that eliminated the defending champs, the last 2 Super Bowl champions. And obviously this was the team that eliminated the Buccaneers from the playoffs. Watching Tom Brady struggled against the Rams since he's been with the Bucs. He's lost both times. So that should really, really be a very interesting matchup. Number 3, Bills-Chiefs Week 6, 425. We all remember that was the best game of the season last year. You got the rematch between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Let me tell you, Bills fans are counting the days for this game to happen. They are really, really looking forward to this game. Number 2, Chiefs and Bucks, Brady Mahomes, Sunday Night Football, Week 4. It seems like those big games Tom Brady plays on Sunday Night Football are in Week 4. We remember last year he went to Foxborough. This year he's facing Patrick Mahomes at home. To see those two quarterbacks go at it, it's always must-see TV. That's why that's number 2 for me. And number 1 is opening day. It's the Bills. It's the Rams. You got the Buffalo Bills, the team that I think is going to win the Super Bowl this year, against the team that won the Super Bowl last year in the Rams. And I think we're going to see this matchup again. This won't be the first time we see the Bills and Rams play in 2020 in the 2022 season. I think we're going to see the rematch in Glendale, Arizona on February 12th, 2023, when they play in the Super Bowl. So that's why that's my number one game. Justin, your top 10 games.
My top 10, I'm going to start at number 10. My Hector's top 3. My top 3, Bengals versus Bucks.
I like let's see Hector's. Bills Chiefs, absolutely. That's definitely got to be a top game. Yeah, Bills Chiefs from last year. Packers Bills, Bills screw quarterbacks. This is a good one. Hector's got Bengals and Bucks.
Yeah,
that's a good one. That almost made it for me. That was close.
Yeah, close. Yep.
That's also another good one. Now, Justin, your top 10.
My number 10. I'm starting now. More likely, Deshaun Watson's return to Houston in Week 13. If he comes off suspension, I know this game will not be the most competitive game in the world, but it'll be interesting the reaction for Deshaun Watson going back to Houston. We'll see. If he's back from suspension or not. And that was like number 10, just to kind of see the reunion there. Number 9 for me is New England versus Vegas on Week 15. Bill versus Josh McDaniels. Could be a big game.
Of course you're to pick that as a top 10 game because you want to see those two go at it. Actually, McDaniels beat him the last time they played.
Yeah. Bill needs his revenge. Could be a big game for the wild card spot. Could be up for grabs as well in that game. Sunday night, Week 15. Should be interesting battle there. Number 8 for me, I got Denver at Baltimore Week 13. Lamar Jackson versus Russell Wilson. That should be two electrifying quarterbacks, two guys that can both get out and run. And I think too late in the year, Week 13 could be both teams battling for a playoff spot. That should be a fun one out in Baltimore. Number 7 for me, I have the Rams versus Tampa Bay. Week 9, another great matchup here. As you mentioned, the last 2 Super Bowl winners, the last 2 NFC winners. It was a great matchup in the playoffs. It should be another great one. 2 veteran quarterbacks with 2 very good teams battling it out once again. Number 6, I got Buffalo versus Cincinnati Week 17. There's just so much offensive talent on both sides of the ball. I could go through it, but we know, 2 young, 2-star talents in Burrow and Josh Allen. Week 17, that should be a big one for both teams kind of towards the end of the season. Week 1 for me is Buffalo, Los Angeles, and the Rams. They'll open the season, could very well, as that's your prediction right now. The Rams and Bills being the Super Bowl. It very well could be. I've not made my Super Bowl prediction yet. I haven't gotten that far yet, but it would not shock me to see those 2 teams battling it out in the Super Bowl. Number 4, I got Green Bay and Buffalo Week 8. It should be another fun one. You mentioned Rodgers versus Allen for the first time. Jari Alexander versus Stephon Diggs. One of the best wide receivers versus one of the best cornerbacks. Should be another high flying game. 2 very good teams. 2 teams that also could maybe be in the Super Bowl meeting against each other. Number 3, I have Seattle versus Denver. I just think because it's Week 1, and this is like the first time we're going to see Russell Wilson in a Denver jersey, and he's going to Seattle for it. Seattle probably won't be great, but I think this is probably the best game Seattle's going to play all year. I don't think Pete Carroll's going to have them ready to play, and kind of and for Denver too. Like, what's the new scheme now for the Broncos under Russell Wilson? We're going to find out a lot about the Broncos that game, and that should be a fun one on Monday Night Football. Number 2, I got Kansas City going to Tampa. Couple Super Bowl rematch from a couple years ago. I already believe it's 6th time that Mahomes and Brady are meeting off and could be the final one. Crazy they've already met that many times, but should be another high scoring one. Should be a lot closer than what the Super Bowl outcome was. And number 1 for me is Buffalo versus Kansas City in Week 6. This was a classic in the playoffs last year. I don't know if we're gonna get 80 points again like we did total. But it should be another fun one. 2 just electrifying offenses, 2 great quarterbacks, some really good wide receivers, just so much talent everywhere in that one. I assume Buffalo is going to want to finally get their revenge against Kansas City.
Oh, absolutely. That's two people. That's already the number one game. So I think that's going to be the game that most people want to see because it's just the high scoring offenses, and it's because of the way that playoff game was. I think that's why this is I think the game people are the most looking forward to this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how you couldn't, if you're a football fan. Two teams that have been the last 2 years, have been two of the best teams in all of football, and just with all the young talents that they have, and Allen and Mahomes, and both those guys just light up a football field, and just so many electrifying guys on offense. It should be another fun one.
Absolutely. So now we'll go to the Pats and Giants. Look at their schedule. We'll start with the Giants, and we'll give our predictions for how we think they're going to do this year. My prediction for the Giants, looking at their schedule, and it is a favorable schedule for a team that's rebuilding. It's a favorable schedule, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're close to 500. If you look at the schedule, they got the Lions at home, they got the Bears at home, they got the Texans at home, they got the Jaguars, they got the Seahawks. This is a very, very favorable schedule for the Giants. Looking through it, I got them going 7-10. I think they go like 2-4 and 3-3 with the division with the teams in the division. I think they lose to the Packers, the Vikings, the Ravens. The Raven game is put at a terrible time. They're flying back from London to play that game. That was a poorly scheduled game. Hector agrees with me. Hector agrees. He says 7-10. Yeah, I'm saying 7-10. As I say, I think they'll win games against the Bears, the Lions, the Texans. I think they'll definitely win those games. I think they'll win they'll win a couple games in the division. They obviously got the Jaguars 2 on the schedule, so that's probably another win. So I'm going, and they got the Panthers too. So it's a very, very favorable schedule. But because this team is rebuilding and they got a major question mark at quarterback, I'm still going 7-10 for the Giants. That's my prediction. Justin, what do you got the Giants going?
I am at 6-11. I think it is a favorable schedule. I look at that month of October. It's you open with the Bears there in week 4, but then you go to Green Bay.
We're playing them in
London. In London. London. And then you got Ravens at home, and then you go to Jacksonville and then Seattle next week. There's just so much travel that I think they could win both those games at the end of the month, but I don't see them kind of sweeping that. I think there's just so much travel in that month of October. That I think that's in her. But yeah, you come off the bye and you got Houston and Detroit at home. I do think it's a very favorable schedule because end of the year you kind of got a lot of those division games, and you hope by then by Thanksgiving you're kind of getting the groove, and you're guys are starting to get used to this new system and all that, and things are coming and clicking together. So I think for that back end, it's kind of better there to have it a gauntlet at the beginning. But yeah, I think it is a favorable schedule. I could see them finishing 7-10, as you mentioned, or even maybe 8-9. They could try to steal a couple. It all kind of depends, on how Daniel Jones, how healthy he is, how well he plays, and how well the defense kind of rebounds after last year.
I think they're going to be. I think they might be 6-4 going to that Dallas game. I really do. Because look at who they play before that. They play the Bears. They play the Lions. They play the Texans. They play the Jaguars. They play the Seahawks. They play the Panthers. The schedule to me is a lot lighter in the first half of the year than it is in the second half of the year. The second half of the season, the schedule definitely gets tougher. I mean, they have 5 of their 6 division games in the second half. They got to go to the Vikings in the second half. They got the Colts, who are a better football team than them. They host them. So I think the first half of the year is where the Giants got to take advantage. I think there's a good chance the Giants will be in it around Thanksgiving, and then unfortunately tail off, and they'll probably move on from Daniel Jones.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that opening kind of the first few games really for the bye. Tennessee's obviously tough on the road. Dallas at home's gonna be tough. Green Bay, Ravens, but you got some winnable games there. Seattle, Jacksonville, Chicago at home, Panthers at home. It's most of those games too are all at home too. Texans and Lions are at home too. I know you got Jacksonville and Seattle, but you got the Bears at home, you got the Panthers at home. It's end of the year, all those division games are gonna be tough because all 3 of those teams too, Washington, Philly, and Dallas are all gonna be battling for that division and even like wild card spots. So they're going to be in it as well. There's not really one, you don't have like a Falcons or a Panthers or, a Houston in this division where you kind of just beat up on the guys. So it's going to be, it's going to be a tough division, but kind of Minnesota, I think, is going to be better this year. Indianapolis, Matt Ryan, I think, would be better. So, yeah, that end of the schedule there, sorry, that Thanksgiving to be a really tough one. Tough kind of end of the season, so for the Giants.
Absolutely. So now we'll go to the Patriots schedule, and looking at their schedule, this is a tough schedule. I mean, they got to play the AFC North, which is tough. They got to play they got to play the Raiders. They got to play the Packers. They got to play the NFC North, and they go to Minnesota and they go to Green Bay. So that's going to be really difficult for them. And in the AFC East, I think they split with their games in the AFC East. I think they split with their games in the NFC North. But outside of that, I only see them winning one game, and the only reason I see them winning that game because you look at it outside of those games, they play Pittsburgh. That's going to be a brutal game. Cleveland, but luckily for them, Deshaun Watson might not play, so that I think they have a chance to win that game. Indianapolis, that's going to be a tough game. You look at Arizona at Arizona. I know you're not a big Cliff Kingsbury guy, but that's going to be a tough game. Vegas, obviously, you're excited for that game. That's going to be another tough one. So, really outside of the games in the NFC North and the AFC East, because I have them splitting, so that would be 5-5. But then I have them going 1-3 in the AFC North. And then I think I have them, so that would make it, I think 6-8. And then the other three games, at Arizona, at the Raiders, and then the Colts, I have them losing all those games. So I got them going 6-11. And it's because they didn't do anything this offseason. They did nothing this offseason. And I think they're in a competitive AFC. This is going to be a year where it's a rude awakening for the Patriots because they just don't have the talent that some of these top teams in the AFC do. And I think this season is going to prove that.
Yeah, I got them 8-9. It's a brutal schedule.
How do you get to 8? How'd you get to 8?
So I have them beating Dolphins on the road week 1. I think first-time head coach, first game, I think we kind of know he's going to run a lot of Shanahan system. I think they find some way his first game that got to knock him off. Second, I got the Lions. There's 2. Week 3, Cleveland. I got them winning 4 against the Bears, 5 the Jets. Again, the Jets in week 11, they're 6. I have them beating the Cardinals in week. I can't trust. It could you do until Cliff Kingsbury shows me. Of course, you have beating the Cardinals. December.
Of course, you have beating the Cardinals.
Again, that is such a coaching mismatch. It's not even funny. So there's 7, and then 8. I got the Dolphins at home in week 17, they knocking them off.
So you got them going 4-2 in the division.
I don't think the Jets are better than. I still think they should knock off the Jets.
I think they're as good. I think they're close. They're getting close to as good. I think with the draft the Jets had and with the lack of activity the Patriots had in the offseason, I think they're getting close to as good. Both quarterbacks. I know Mac Jones had a good rookie year, but his roster got worse. Zach Wilson's roster got better. So I think it's close between the Patriots and Jets. I just think this is going to be a rough year for the Patriots. I think playing the North, having to play some of the second place teams in the division last year, the Raiders and the Colts, who are definitely teams that are going to be competing for a playoff spot. I think it's going to be a tough year for the Patriots. That's why I got them going 6-11.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, there's a couple of toss-ups in there. You could go either way. It is. It's they did not do a lot here to kind of to get better. I understand that they really didn't. I think they drafted I am really kind of high on some of these, like Thompson out of the draft. I'm really high in him out of Baylor. Like I think he could kind of really step up. I think I like their ideas of trying to get faster, and I think that could benefit this team. That's kind of why I'm at like 8 and 9. Maybe they could surprise some folks, but again, I think they kind of hang around there for a while. I feel a little bit better about them. I'm hoping, Mac Jones plays a little bit better than he did towards the end of the year. And doesn't go through that sophomore slump. But, I was surprised too that Patriots have 4 straight primetime games in December.
Really? Oh, 4 straight primetime games? That's crazy.
Yeah.
When does it start with the Buffalo game, right?
It starts with the Vikings game.
Vikings Thanksgiving, Buffalo, Bills, Arizona, and the Raiders. And the only one that could get flexed is that Raider game, the one you're the most excited for.
Yeah. Yeah, so we could possibly, which this is made, I know it's not the most exciting Patriot team in the world either. So I would, that also kind of surprised me a bit that we have that many and then we have the Bears too at home on a Monday night, which that's gonna be an ugly one.
Yeah, I think you should win. That's one of the few. That's one of the games I got you winning. That's one of the games I got you winning against the Bears on Monday night.
Yes, we should totally win that one. But that I could see that one be a low scoring defensive battle. That one with those two.
Oh, and, definitely.
I see Hector's got with the Steelers schedule being very favorable. Yeah, I think it's not bad at all. You know, you got
they play the AFC. They play the AFC
East.
Oh, but you guys, but the AFC East, and they host you and the Jets, I think, right?
Yeah,
they host you guys in the Jets, so they two are probably the lesser teams in the AFC East. Do you have the Pats finish in second or third?
Third, I think Miami. No, I haven't made 8-9. I had Dolphins 8-9 as well, so I didn't go.
I had them 8-9 too, but yeah. You look at Pittsburgh's schedule facing the AFC East, and then so that could help them, but I still feel like Pittsburgh's not going to have a winning record because of their quarterback situation.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, you know, to kind of with who's gonna play, how long do they wait for Pickett? You know, they added, you know, I think they did with the Patriots, they added some speed at wide receiver, which I like. It is a favorable schedule with Mike Tomlin, that organization. I wouldn't be shocked to see them finish 9-8. At first glance, I was right around 8-9. I wouldn't be shocked to see them win 9 games, but you know, you got the Browns early on the road. I know you end with them week, 18. But like they play the NFC South, so you could, and you got the Saints at home, so you could very well go 3-1 against the NFC South, which could help things. But yeah, I could, you know, I do think, you know, Steelers travel wise, it's not bad at all.
It is and it isn't, but I think the problem there is going to be the quarterback. And the quarterback and the offensive line are the problem. That's why I got that team missing the playoffs by a couple games. But we got the Yanks and Sox continuing to go in opposite directions. But before we talk about that, we got a promo from Clovercrest Media.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEX Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut.
So how about those Yankees? They continue to play well. They won a series against Chicago this weekend. They took a 3 out of 4 from the White Sox. Now they've taken the first 2 in their 4-game series with the Orioles. Everything's clicking. Judge has been great. Stanton's been great. Rizzo's been really good. So the offense has been good. The pitching has been outstanding. The bullpen's been outstanding. Is there really any holes on this team? This team is they're trying to find things that this team struggles with. Maybe offensively a little bit, but maybe because they're not the number one. They're not, number one in run score, but still. This team has just been flat out phenomenal. I think this could be a special season for the Yankees for what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to think of that. Like the only spot would be like catcher, but like Trevino hits a big 3-run shot last night.
How many teams in baseball though have issues with offense with catchers not hitting?
Probably a lot. There's probably a lot, but
there's a ton. Yeah,
it's a tough position to get offense from. But it's been good. Actually the other kind of hole I would say is. In Montgomery starts, he's made 8 starts this year, or he's made 7 starts. They've only given him 8 runs. That's like he's gotten like the DeGrom treatment. That's about the only other thing I have is scoring some more runs for Montgomery. But yeah, this team right now is playing well. Judge and Stanton. Actually, on opening day, I was kind of looking at DraftKings. Stanton was 5,001 odds for MVP. I put a few bucks on him. Nice. If he stays healthy, he's going to hit 35 home runs.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So he's been on fire. I know he's probably not the favorite at the moment, but he's playing well. Judge is just, again, he made a great decision to bet on himself, and it's paying off well. He got robbed of a home run last night with the new redesigned Cameron yards, which is a complete joke that the MLB can't let them do that. But it's been great. It's Mike King again last night was unbelievable. He just, again, his stuff is just so filthy. Nestor Cortez, too, has been unbelievable. He just works so fast. It's location. Like, everybody loves a pitcher that can throw 100, but look at Wainwright. He stayed in this game so long because it's location. You know, he puts the pitches right on the black, and it's unhittable. You know, it's just right now, yeah, it really kind of seems like this Yankee team right now is could be on for a really, really nice year.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there just isn't any holes. When you don't have holes, you're going to have a great season. And I just feel like this team just has no holes on it right now. It's just everything's flowing. Everything's been playing real well. I mean, they started 5-5, so they've won 22 of their last 26 games. I mean, 22-4 in their last 26. That's absolutely phenomenal, and that's why they're the best team in baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, again, in baseball too, it's tough to kind of do that. And yeah, they kind of got off to such a bad start, but they kind of figured it out that Detroit series. They came home and they figured it out. They've been on a roll ever since. And I get some credit to Boone too this year. He's made every right decision. Like, I'm not, it's like I'm starting to kind of get like that Red Sox team in 2018. I know they're probably not going to win 115 games like they did, but like the feeling kind of like everything is just clicking every single night. Like everything's kind of seems to break your way. The manager makes every right decision every night. Like it kind of like I'm getting that kind of feel of this team right now. So yeah, this team is just on an absolute roll.
You made a good point about Aaron Boone. He has done a really good job, and I was one. You weren't, but I was one that wanted him fired. I wanted him out, and he's proved to be. He's had a really good year, and he's done a great job with this team. And it's just games that this team would lose, in other years, like that game last week against the Blue Jays where they were down 3-0 and they were down 5-3. They come back and win that game. Last year, that's definitely a loss. There's no way that's not a loss. And then obviously. Even on Saturday night where they were down 2-1 going into the ninth inning, they came back and tied the game. Other years they don't do that. They had 2 hits on Sunday and they still won. It's like they're winning in so many different ways, and that's what great teams do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you find a way to win, and that's kind of the big thing. You kind of find things to do. It's kind of been on the base path as well this year. They've kind of stolen more bases. The pitching's been outstanding. Yeah, they put in some more small ball this year, I feel like, and it's helped, you gotta find it. You can't. I know we've both been saying this for years. You can't win with just exclusively home run ball. It just doesn't happen. And maybe they kind of figured that out, somewhat of, hey, we do need to kind of switch things up a bit, there's times they still strike out a lot, but again, I even feel like that's been cut down too this year. Like a lot of or if they strike out too, like I feel like the at-bats are much better than what it was last year. I felt like guys at times they just they're playing
smart. Yeah, they're playing smart and not over aggressive. Like other years they wanted to hit home runs and they want to swing for the fences. Yeah, they're still hitting home runs, but this year, they're running the bases well, they're hitting line drives. It's definitely a team that and you're right about Justin. It's just a team that's playing a lot better because they're not relying on the home run ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, we met. I know we both of them mentioned this. You can't win that way all the time. It just won't work, especially if the balls are unjuiced. Who knows what's going on with the baseballs? Nobody ever knows. But yeah, again, saying this too for years. Just put the ball in play and good things happen. And it just kind of seems like they figured that out this year. I don't know what or how, but there's this offense right now. It's done a lot better. Like I know Gallo still has a strikeouts, but I feel like his at bats have been a bit better. They're still not great.
Gallo's been hitting the ball better. I mean, that home run he hit on Sunday, that's a step. If he can get going, because you obviously got Rizzo, Stanton, and Judge. They've been getting going. Glaber's been better of late. If you can get Gallo going, imagine this lineup.
Yeah, I'm like even Torres is fixed now. It seems like if Gallo was probably would mostly been like in that 5-6 hole somewhere around there. You can get that for you can get him kind of going with that in the 6th spot in the order. That'd be huge. I know the numbers still aren't great, but he's a guy I think, with that short porch out there, right? At some point he could kind of figure it out and have really get those numbers skyrocket. Hector's comment, honestly, I'm surprised of. And Toronto has not been played well. I know
Rios has struggled. They've really struggled to hit too. But really outside of Guerrero and Springer, they've really struggled to hit. A lot of people thought Toronto was going to win this division. They've struggled to hit. Barrios hasn't been as good. So yes, Toronto definitely has been a little bit disappointing. Tampa's they're there. They're in position to get a wild card. But we all know the team that's ganging ground on the Yankees in the American League, and we know who that team is.
We know Toronto totally could be.
But we know what team's been ganging ground on them though in the American League. That's the Houston Astros.
Oh yeah, Houston. Yeah, they're playing Boston right now, and they're kind of healthy. They're getting healthy. They've been playing well. But it's again Houston, the team that they can never see to get over the hump again. So that again, like for the Yankees, I know it is still really really early. It's I know we're talking about Houston. Going back to Houston is like, can they do it in the playoffs? Can they finally hit in the playoffs? I know it's way early, but again, right, like that could be the thing that could kill them right now. Is if postseason they cannot hit the baseball again. That's where they're at right now. If they kind of they hit like they usually have in the playoffs the last couple years, then they'll be in trouble. But actually Houston because Verlander's been good. McCullers is out, but Valdez, Garcia's kind of is been good. They got some young players, and obviously with Altuve still and Bregman, they still got some really, really good players. They'd be another tough out for the Yankees. They have
absolutely. And now speaking of Houston, they're playing the Red Sox right now, and I was going to praise the Red Sox a little bit this week. It felt like they took some strides. They took 2 out of 3 in Texas. They did beat the Astros too on Monday night. Obviously, Trevor Story had that big home run against that. Trevor Story had a home run. And then Xander Bogaerts had a home run. So it seemed like they were making some strides. And then last night happened. Nathan Eovaldi could not have been more pathetic. He was absolutely horrendous. 9 runs in an inning. Yes, this pitching statistically is good right now, but do you really expect Michael Wacha and you expect guys like Michael Wacha and Rich Hill to hold up? I don't think so. The offense needs to be better. I mean, I know, Story is doing a little bit better, but he's been bad. The big 3 have been – that's really been the only guys really been hitting for the Red Sox this year. Kike Hernandez has been pathetic. Jackie Bradley's not been able to hit. Verdugo's been in a slump. So the Red Sox, to me, they are really, really slumping right now. And I think they were kind of the team we thought they were going to be last year, a 4th-place team that could end up being 6-7 games under 500.
Yeah, it's Eovaldi last. He gave up 5 home runs the second inning. He threw 39 pitches.
Did you work that game?
Yeah, I looked the last 2. Yeah, that was an ugly one. They were not happy last night, and then with the Yankees winning too, it was a very somber night for him. But he only had 3 swings and misses last night and 39 pitches, and he gave up 5 home runs. Like it just he couldn't get anything by him. I know he said after the game he's gonna see if he was tipping his pitches, maybe try to figure something out, but. You got to see, I guess the bright side last night was their bullpen pitched really well for him afterwards. The bullpen kind of, tried to keep him in it. Like they had 13 hits last night. They just couldn't get that big hit in scoring position when runners kind of on. But as you mentioned, it's been Bogaerts, Martinez, Devers have been like the big 3. And Frenchie Cordero, since they've called him up, he's looked a lot better this year. Like he's not had as much swing and miss as he has last year. He still needs a lot of work over that first base, but he's played first base mostly over Dolbeck the last couple games. So Ian Cordero's starting to kind of be a guy in the order. He could be somebody kind of look out for because he hit what was it like a 465 foot bomb last year into Washington. Like he's got some pop to him. So he's a guy too that maybe could get hot. But yeah, you mentioned pitching wise, Wacha you can't provide. You can't kind of. Again, he's not having a 1 ERA all year. Whitlock kind of has had his struggles. It sounds like he's going to stay in the rotation. He's not going to be the closer. Sounds like they'd rather have him throw more innings and have him kind of more decide a game early on than be the closer at the end. So closer role. Who knows what's going to happen there with the Sox? But yeah, you can't keep relying on some of these guys because again, how much you can get out of Sale? He's not been able to stay healthy. Could he pitch? Staying off the IL from June to September? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. You wonder when you're going to get Chris Sale back, and really, can anyone else? I know Rich Hill and Walker have done a good job, and Evaldi did a good job until last night. But how long can you really rely on these guys? How long can you rely on them to get it done? I mean, they're not. None of them are great pitchers. I mean, Evaldi had a career year last year. Rich Hill and Waka's ever since that 1 year in St. Louis, he's been very inconsistent. And Rich Hill's, I don't know how old is he? Like in his 40s?
42.
He's 42 years old. So
42.
It's just very hard to rely on those guys. So they got to get Chris Sale back. We'll see when they get Chris Sale back, but the offense has got to do it. It's the strength of the team. They got to be better offensively. I know they've been better lately, but they got to do it consistently, or it's going to get late early for the Red Sox. This season could very easily be over by the All-Star break.
Yeah, absolutely, it could, and that's not going to make a lot. Obviously, will not make the fan base very happy after what they had last year too. Just so much momentum coming into this year, and again, it pretty much stalled right from the beginning. Pretty much that first game to the Yankees. They got up early in the first inning. I was like, this is going to be a long year for New York, and again, it just like since the first game, they just have not. They've struggled, since then, and yeah, it just again, the Bogaerts news. I know sounds like who knows what's going on with the Bogaerts kind of contract situation, but yeah, they're not. There's starting to be some pressure here on Bloom of kind of why didn't you get a reliever? And the thing is, it's like they kind of believe that some fans kind of believe listening to the one of the shows for the pregame is did he get Story because he knows Bogaerts is gone instead of getting the relievers? Like he better like they need Story here because if he is the guy for Bogaerts to fill in, it's not going to be pretty.
Which I think is ridiculous. Why you wouldn't pay one of your best players and then not improve your team because you're afraid the guy's going to leave. Just pay the guys. Pay the guy. Give him the money he wants. Just pay him. That's the problem with this general manager. He thinks this is Tampa where he could just rebuild, build from the ground up. No, in Boston you need to pay these guys. You got to be competitive every year, and this team right now is just not competitive.
No, they're not. Yeah, as you mentioned. Yeah, again, it's you can do it in some spots trying to beat Tampa, but yeah, no, not with the Red Sox. You can't. I don't know. Again, I don't know how true it is that how far off they were, negotiating wise. But yeah, again, you gotta pay Bogaerts to 35 million. He said yesterday in the interview with like the Spanish broadcasters, he wants to be here and he wants to retire his uniform. He wants to retire number 2 in a Red Sox uniform. He wants to be here, but. So, he'd probably take a little bit of hometown discount. So I kind of more believe that the Red Sox are trying to lowball him a little bit too much. And, Heim's probably going to have to, they're going to have to up that because he's a guy that you got to keep around. He's a fan favorite in Boston, and he'd be such a huge loss to lose him.
Absolutely. So we'll wrap the show talking about some hockey. And last week we were here. We thought the Rangers were done. They were down 3-1. They started so slow in game 2, and then when Sidney Crosby got hurt, that series turned around completely. The Rangers scored 3 unanswered goals. They did give a goal back, but they ended up winning game 4 5-3. Also got down 2-0 in game 6 and came back and won that 5-3 thanks to Zibanejad and Kreider. They both had 2 goals in that game 6. They carried them in that game 6. And then game 7, Artemi Panarin did not have a good series, but he came through to win that series. Great series win for a young Rangers team. No one expected them to win that series, and it was really, really exciting to see them win that series.
Yeah, absolutely. The slogan they've been using, the hashtag they've been using, "No Quit New York," and that's that team did not quit. And yeah, game 6, that penalty changed it on Rodriguez. That was a bad penalty. And did you mention the power play got going with Zibanejad and Kreider? They took advantage. Game 7, I was very worried. Crosby coming back. They got their starting goaltender back in Jerry. They got down again, and they found a way to win that game somehow. And as you mentioned, Panarin, they kind of drew that power play up for him. Right out the face. I was like, oh boy. I don't know how that game winning shot got through. There was like 4 guys in front of the net there. it did. Yeah, Panarin's not great. They need to be better. Igor's got to, in front of them, they got to play better, but on the road, he's got to play a lot better. He gave up a lot of kind of easy goals in Pittsburgh. I felt like, that, obviously the offense didn't help them, but this team's got to, again, they did surprise a lot of people, and again, they overcome that review again, like that again, four 50-50 reviews all went Pittsburgh's way. The team still found a way to kind of rebound off of it and still be able to win the series. So, it was impressive.
It was a great win against the Penguins. Now on to the Hurricanes. And the big question is, do the Rangers have a chance to upset them? And I think they do, because the Hurricanes went to 7 games with the Bruins and didn't win a road game. I think the Hurricanes might lose some games in the Garden. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rangers pushed this to 6 or 7, to be honest. I really do.
So you're higher than me. Carolina came in the month of March and April on the road, division kind of still in balance, and they came in and dominated New York. That's what I kind of worry about. Now, Antti Redna, their backup goalie's in that at least for tonight. So you got the backup goalie for him, but like Carolina just got so much firepower, and you got to start a lot faster than the way you have, especially on the road. Like Igor's got to show up on the road tonight. He's got to show up because they get down early. Like Carolina, they're not allowing any fans outside, like Ranger fans out of North Carolina. So there's going to be absolute zero Ranger fans in the building tonight. But you got to try to steal one on the road, but that's going to be very tough. A veteran Bruins team couldn't do that. You got to go in there and try to just, score early and just try to put some pressure on them.
Yeah. When is their starter expected to be back? What's his last name's Anderson, right?
It's Anderson, yeah. In hockey, they don't really give you any info. All you have to do is say upper body or lower body. That's about it. So it's always tough to kind of tell, and coaches don't usually give you that info.
So did you think the Rangers were a better team than the Bruins? Because if the Rangers were better than the Bruins, I think they could give the Hurricanes a series. I
do think the Rangers are better than the Bruins, but I just think with that veteran of Pastrnak, Bergeron, McAvoy, like the guys that have been there and been to Stanley Cup, I know because they really struggled on the road there. They got them at home, but I know goaltending too for the Bruins was not great. They kind of struggled in that area, but I don't know. I think the Rangers could. They just got to start faster. I just don't think you can fall behind 3-1 to this team, or even game tonight, you can't fall behind 2-0 and hope to come back because Carolina's not going to give it to you. And I also think because Rangers were great on the power play all year. Carolina was 88% in the PK this year. They're not going to.
They're good at killing penalties.
Yeah, that's also what worries me in the series.
Yeah, it should be a really good series. So my series prediction is I'm going to take the Hurricanes in 6. What do you got, Justin?
I'm going to go Hurricanes in 5.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think I think this team's going to be too much, and they were too much to handle for the Rangers most season, winning 3 out of 4.
Oh, wow. So, but still, this was regardless of what happens in the series, I think this was a really good year for the Rangers. Even if they get swept, I think it's a really good year for the Rangers. Yeah, absolutely. I think with the young core that they got, that kind of exceeded expectations. I think this is. I think, you got a lot of young guys here that kind of now we know how to get to the playoffs, and I think they'll be better. Yeah, and I think this is a good step forward. Again, Carolina, most of that team's got a young core, so they're going to be a tough out the next couple of years. But yeah, I think it's a good step in the right direction for the Rangers. Even if they do lose a series in 5 games, I think for a Ranger fan, it was a positive view. Absolutely. That's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Jace Garcia, did a great job, our producer. For Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week talking NBA, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, and the Yankees and Red Sox. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley, and Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this, they lob it to him, he taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3, he's done his part. Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Hello,
my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.